Rudy Giuliani, who has openly pushed the Biden-Ukraine story for months, including on this program, turns out to be a key player in the current drama. The president asked Ukraine's leader to work with him, but Giuliani insists that's not the real story.
Why are we talking about us and not Biden? Because the media in this city is corrupt. That's why.
So why did Trump's personal lawyer play such a crucial backstage role? He responded to critics quoted by the Washington Post.
Rudy, he did all of this, one U.S. official said. This show that we're in, it's him injecting himself into the process. Insiders saying, you muck this up. Your response?
Man, I really did. And you know who I did it at the request of? The State Department. I never talked to a Ukrainian official until the State Department called me and asked me to do it.
Guy with the press so focused on Rudy Giuliani. He's right. He has cover here. He does have, text, emails from the State Department asking him to do these meetings. But the question for the media then is, why is the Trump State Department asking the president's personal lawyer to do this kind of digging?
Yeah, that's a very good question, and it's a question that needs to be answered. Another question that I would love to hear answered at some point, this is more of a political question. Why does the president keep allowing Rudy Giuliani to go on television every single day? I mean, it's great for us, and he'll sit here and he'll talk for 15 or 20 minutes if you give him the time, and he can be entertaining. But I think, on the whole, it doesn't strike me as terribly helpful all the time. The President Trump, his
on
client.
that point, he was on ABC this morning. He was on Maria Bartiromo's FNC show right before ours. But look, that's his mission. He goes on and he makes charges, defends himself. He's controversial. Sometimes he gets hot. Occasionally he makes mistakes. And if his reputation gets scuffed up in the process, I don't think he cares. I think he sees himself as taking a lot of flack that otherwise would be aimed at President Trump.
Exactly right. And I saw a clip this week. I'm sorry I can't attribute it properly, but the clip was someone saying, why were you doing this? Who are you doing this for? And his response was, I am working for President Trump. Mm-hmm. He's President Trump's defense lawyer. Mm-hmm. So to Guy's point, as an observer of the media, I think to myself, he doesn't look that great. If he was representing me, I'd have questions about him as my representative, because at times he seems unhinged. But on the fact that he goes out there and makes an aggressive, I would go beyond aggressive, a zealous attack on the president's critics, I think that's valuable.
Well, the press used to admire Rudy when he was U.S. attorney and then when he was mayor of New York, especially after 9/11. Now he's Trump's lead TV warrior. It's what he is, and many pundits dismissed him as overzealous. He told Atlantic's Elena Plott, it is impossible that the whistleblower is a hero and I'm not, and I will be the hero. These morons, when this is over, I will be the hero.
Yeah, I'm sure if he was working for a Democrat. I mean, I'm sorry, but if he said this morning on Maria's show, look, I'm acting as the president's defense attorney, and what am I defending him against? I'm defending it against the charge that in 2016, my client, the president, colluded with the Russians to win the election. I'm out there to prove it was something else going on, that the Democrats were really behind a lot of this collusion, and that's what he said he's doing. So what do we do in the media? What's our role? Should we be listening to the defense attorney a little more closely? Should we be following some of the things he's talking about a little more closely? Or should our attention just be turned on whatever the president did on the phone and whatever other collusion or corruption things involve the president, and not what his so-called defense attorney wants us to look
What
at?
about Giuliani's point that the media, you made this point again on television, are protecting Joe Biden, that, they are not aggressively investigating Biden because they like him, he's a Democrat, whatever.
Oh, Politico looked into that whole situation. The New York Times did pretty aggressively as well. I would like to hear a little bit more of a drumbeat of criticism from the press about the evasiveness of Joe Biden, not answering any questions on any of this. That, at some point, can't last. But I feel like
he hasn't done any interviews this past week. He's been on the trail. He's talked to reporters.
Right, but I'm saying if it were a Republican in the bunker on this, I think there'd be lots of loud screaming about it. Also, one other very quick point. It is true that the Ukrainians did, in fact, meddle in the 2016 election on behalf of Hillary Clinton and against the Trump campaign. It looked like there were some anchors on other networks who did not even know that that was a thing that happened, even though it was, and I think it's part of the context of this current
Just briefly, Juan, what about Bill Barr? Many pundits saying he should recuse himself because the president brought him up in his conversation with President Zelensky, although it's not clear that he did very much on this.
No, but I think that lots of people are concerned about the way the whistleblower complaint was handled, because if you will recall, Howie, it goes from the Director of National Intelligence Office, where the IG, the Inspector General, thought that it was an urgent and critical concern, but they checked on it with the White House, eventually with the Justice Department that told them it's not urgent, no need to reveal it. People felt that's part of the cover-up.
So many storylines here, and Chris Wallace disclosing on his program this morning that the two other Washington lawyers, former Justice Department officials, Joe DeGeneva and his wife, Victoria Tunsing, have also been working to dig up opposition research on Joe Biden, working with Rudy Giuliani. So there are a lot of threads here.